Hey, welcome back to the garage, everyone. All right, the rear end of the old Corvette is all squared away. The spare tire carrier is back in place, and the only thing I really need to do there is go buy a new spare tire for the vehicle because, well, the one that's on the spare wheel over there in the corner is original to 1978, and I don't think that'll get us very far if I do ever have a flat in the unlikely occurrence. But anyway, the rear end, it's done. So where does that leave us? The front end. All right, let's go ahead and start on the driver's side simply because this is where I'm at. That's not a very auspicious start. Craftsman brushless RP 20 volt. You know, what are we even doing here? Do I need to, oh, you know, the position's in 2. Whoopsie. There we go. We got it on the full blast mode now. Ow, that was a toe. All right, let's see what we got here. What's that blue about? What is that? I have no idea. Let's see, initial inspection. What do we got here? Looks like some grease. What's going on with that, man? Are we leaking from the dust cap? Are we leaking, that's interesting. Where did that oil come from? No clue. Don't care. Gonna replace everything anyway. Don't really matter. Got there a little bit of this white, hazy looking mold growing all over everything. It's just weird, man. So I had to get in here with some super clean, take care. Even on the edge of the rotor, it's got this white haze. That is just bizarre. Have you guys ever experienced that? Let me show you what I'm talking about. Look at that right there. You see that? On a brake rotor, man. What's going on with that? If you guys know what that's about, give me a shout down at the comments below. Fill me in, okay? So anyway, all the boots on the ball joints are trash. The car's got 52,000 miles on it. Of course, you know, it's old, right? So there's that. But 52,000 miles does not kill a ball joint. So what I want to do before I even order ball joints, I know this is just more for mental sanity, really. I want to take the tie rod ends off and the ball and get these control arms off of here, and you know, wiggle around on the ball joints just to see what their state is, and then make a decision. Okay, do I need new ones, or do I just need to put new boots on them and refill them with grease? So if we can get away with that, you can save a little money. We'll see what happens. Doubtful. We'll probably have to replace all the stuff anyway. Not going to worry about it. Now, anyway, one thing we're going to do during all of this is we're going to replace this crappy power steering unit that went right here. I've got the control valve. Let's see, is that? Yeah, that's the control valve. And there's a hydraulic cylinder. All that stuff is over there in the house garage. I've got it removed. It's laying on the floor over there. It's not going back on the car. It's junk. We're going to go with a Borgeson style power steering conversion. It'll still have power steering, obviously, but it will not use this setup. This setup is just junk. Now, there's two kinds of things you can do. You can go with a new modern rack and pinion style steering, which that's $2,500. I'm not doing that. I'm going to go with a classic Borgeson style. Basically, it's like they repurposed a style of steering from another GM vehicle, and with a conventional style power steering gearbox. And the reviews I've read are just really great. And you can pick it up for like $750. Okay, so we're gonna go that route. Got to save my money first, though. All right, enough about that. We'll talk about more about the project as we go on here. But let me go ahead and get 5/8 and get this brake rotor off of here. There we go. All right, let's get this, there we go. I always want to use a flare nut wrench on these tight connections to break it loose. We're broke loose now, so we can go ahead and get a conventional wrench on there. This hard line is original to the car. It's still in good shape. I'll probably just clean it up and continue to use it. No reason to remove it. Let me get a jar or something and let that brake fluid drip into. All right, let's get these 5/8" bolts off of here. I had removed so much hardware off the rear end, I had to bag and tag everything so I can remember what it was. I'm glad I did too, because right there towards the end, it got to be a mess. But I don't think it'll be like that for the front end. It won't be as complicated, I don't believe. Brackets on the front brakes are a little bit different. But, you know, it's just a Chevrolet, right? Heartbeat of America. That one's a little, oh, it's got a little, might have a little weight on it. That's really annoying, sitting there just eating up my fingertips trying to get that 8,000 thread bolt out of there. There we go. We'll just set this aside over here in the corner. In theory, nothing really needs to be done with those brakes except for cleaning them up and putting them back on the car, which is a good thing. So what we're going to do now, let's go ahead and neckify this spindle here. Let me go ahead and get that dust cap off of there. Tippy tip tip. Maybe. How do you do this? There we go. Got a man up on it. Come on. I'm being careful. I don't want to bend it. You know what I'm saying? That's all. I can't recall if I ever did anything with the bearings on this car at all. I might have put some grease in here or something, but I'll be honest with you, I don't remember. Yeah, it's got new grease in it, that's for sure. That's that red Valvoline that I like to use. So here's the question. Did I replace the bearings in this car? I have no idea. I cannot remember for the life of me. I really cannot remember. So that means we'll just take them out and see if they look original or not. All right, let's get the cotter pin out. That's that fantastic cotter pin job. Dr. Eyeball was here, he'd be laughing at me. I'll try to do better in the future. Man, that cotter pin's in there. I kind of wanted to avoid tearing it up. What size is it, you reckon? 1¼ inch? Man, we are good. That's our thrust washer. Preliminary indication on the bearing. I was just so curious about this. Made in the USA. Looks like there's some roughness right in there on the top of it where it hit that thrust washer. Anyway, let's get it off there and let's just see what happens here. Oh, it comes, hold up a second. I was gonna take it out by itself, but there we go, let's just do that. There we go. Yeah, some of the old grease is back in there. I was in here at some point and put some new grease in it. I think, you know what I think I probably did? I probably just pulled this out of there, put some new grease on the outside, because there's old grease in the back. And the lettering on this bearing looks old. That looks like the original bearing. It really does. Anyway, what's fascinating is, look at this. See this rough? Can you see that rough ring on that bearing? It's pitting all the way around the inside of it. You hear that? Can you hear how rough that is? Here's a smooth bit, right? Here's the rough bit. Man, that's strange. They look all right, but you know, we'll give it a closer look later. So anyway, let's get the rotor off. Yeah, we'll take a look at the bearings later. Yeah, that's all old grease in the back there. You know, that's original. That's, how old is this car now? Hell, it'd be 50 in 28. It's 45 years old. Amazing, isn't it? All right, let's go ahead and take this tie rod end off next, I reckon. Hey, look at that. How about that? All right, no fuss, no muss. Maybe a little scuff, but that's about it. Hey, look at that. I found a spacer of some kind. Wonder where that goes. Kind of want to get this dust cover off next. It's held on there with the same bolts that basically hold the brake caliper bracket and the tie rod bracket to the spindle assembly. These two bolts here hold the brake caliper bracket on, and this one holds the tie rod on. Anyway, let's take all that. Man, that's a big old bolt too. Look at that. Let's take those off of there next. Have you ever completely dismantled the front end of a Corvette? No, I've never done it. No, just a Chevy. How hard could it be? All right, let's get our dust cover off. These are 3/4 inch. Dadgummit. Come on now. There we go. Let me tell you what, man, that's a hefty bolt right there. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get that other bolt out first. 15/16 is it. It's got these little key lock, French key lock things, or whatever you want to call them. So we'll get those out of the way. Ooh, all right, come on now. Just don't be flying apart on me. I know I took all the fasteners out, but you know, cut me some slack here. All right, there we go. Dust shield, brake caliper bracket. Yee, boy, we're cooking with gas. All right. What do we got here? All right, that's our tie rod bracket. There we go. Let's go ahead and take this front sway bar link off next. What do you think? And then after that, we'll be able to start taking these upper and lower ball joints out. But we'll have to lower it down to the ground for that, or get some weight with a jack underneath this. You know this. You know the score. You guys know how to do this stuff. So let me get something to take that off there next. Boy, that was a fighter. That top bushing looks pretty good. Yeah, it's got one crack. This bottom one here is. Well, it's not so good. There we go. And we got this whole end link kit from Energy Suspension with poly bushings. And boy, I started an argument on the Facebook page, on the Corvette Facebook page the other day. I said, I'm talking about, yeah, I'm doing my car. I'm gonna put polyurethane bushings on it, you know, and everyone's like, oh, those things are the worst thing in the world, and mine didn't last any time at all. They're just complete junk. You just use rubber and all that kind of mess. I asked a couple of those guys, well, what bushings did you use? What brand did you use? Well, I'll stay away from them, you know. And he goes, I don't know. They were on the car when I bought it. So he doesn't know if they were poly. And if they were, has no idea what brand they were, or what their history was, or the performance of the car, or how the car was, if it was abused. They're just this horse crap. Okay? So my point is, if you're going to participate in an online discussion forum, be wary of naysayers. I will say this. My older brother has a PhD in polymer chemistry, and I can attest to the fact that the polyurethane bushings will in fact last longer than rubber. So let's just leave it at that, okay? Now let's lower the vehicle a little bit and get these cotter pins out of these ball joints. All right, let's go ahead and get this cotter pin out of the upper. Oh, that one came out easy. Wonder how stubborn this is going to be. There. Whoops, I bumped the camera, sorry. So I just wanted to loosen it a little bit because we'll need to, we're going to tap it right off later. That's what we're going to do. All right, so this shouldn't really be, you know, all that hard, really. Let's see if we can't break this thing loose here. There we go. Look at that. Just a little man up on it. Normally, I would have tied it up by now. So let me do that. I always like to have a rope on a spring before I try to get it out of there. So what I'm going to do is put a rope on here, get ourselves a safety net, and get my jack underneath here with a big piece of wood and pull it, and then let her down easy. That's what we're going to do. This spring has got to be compressed, and I got to take the shock out to do that. So I was thinking we could just lower the control arm out, and the spring would just, never mind what I thought. It was wrong. I was wrong. Ha! Let's see, while I'm in here, might as well take this other shock absorber bolt off while we're at it. Let's see, gotta get my compressor out of the way. That dust cover there is a little worse for wear. We might have to order some new ones. Of course, as you guys know, I started pulling the engine about 18 months ago, and that didn't finish. So in all of this, when we're done underneath the car, we're going to freshen up this L82 350, and I think we're going to modernize it. Get us some roller lifters and all that fancy stuff that goes in the motor. So that was a 220 horsepower rated SAE. That's a SAE rating from 78. And of course, in 72, everybody lowered their horsepower ratings to what they call SAE, which is more normalized. And they measure the horsepower with the, you know, all the stuff connected to the engine and all that kind of stuff. You guys know all that stuff already, though. So if this engine was in 71, it probably would have been rated anywhere from 270 to 300. But anyway, what are we going to do now? Oh yeah, let's take the shock out. Easy peasy. All right, I need a spring compressor, and I have one that fits a Mercedes. All right, we got to run up to O'Reilly and rent us a spring compressor, so I'll be back here in a little bit. All right, I got back from O'Reilly and picked up a coil spring compressor, and these things are just usually pretty ungainly, to be quite honest. And hell, I might have to take this one back. Is it gonna get up in there? So it'll take me probably a good hour to get this thing situated. Let's see here. I've got to get the other claw expanded. Now that it's up in there, that's going to be impossible. All right, let me scratch my head. I'll be right back. All right, well, let's see. Let's take it apart. Let's try to put it in there like this. Is that going to work? It's got these, got bolts coming out, and I need to tighten that up a little bit. Goodness gracious. There we go. Now, let's see. How are we going to do this? Let's wind her up in there. Get that up in there one more step. There we go. Ah, the angle of the dangle, it ain't right. All right, we got it started. And hopefully we won't run out of threads, you know. All right, we're getting her on up in there. All right, we got our, yeah, that's much nicer there. So all we need is a little bit of pressure right there, like that. And then we're gonna come back in here. I'm gonna take that off. All right, let's go ahead and get this off of here. I went through this whole exercise once before. I'm thinking I probably won't put that in this video, but I don't know, we'll see what happens. Without trying to use a spring compressor, and I thought, well, I'll just ease it out of it. No, that's not gonna work. All right, I got a rope up there, got the nut off, and let's go ahead and lower this thing down. Come on, don't give me a heart attack. Just, there we go. That spring, you can see how it's going to click, 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 kind of like. Clearly it was in a bind up there in the upper perch, and it's impossible to see what's going on up there. Yep. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and lower the car down. All right, let's see. There we go. Got it loosened up pretty good there. Got to figure out how I'm going to get that out of there. I'm trying to figure out if the lower control arm bushings are just like really, really tight or something, and it won't pivot. It won't pivot down farther. Why is that? That's stupid. All right, so the spring is loose. The control arm bushings are clearly very tight. They've only got 52,000 on them, so there we go. Come on. The bump stop's in my way. Let me get the bump stop unbolted. That'll make my life a lot easier. Wrong way. I think it's hung on something. You know what I should do? I should just go ahead and raise the car in the air and disconnect the rear of the control arm. Because this thing's tight, man. I lifted the upper control arm up, and my spring compressor is sticking up out of the perch, the spring perch. And the spring compressor is catching on the edge. Let's see, I think I got it now. There we go. See, I got the rope on there. See there? Got your safety rope on there. Now I don't have to, I didn't have to worry about it falling in or anything like that. So, always use a rope or a chain or something with a spring. Okay, so let me go ahead and get this out of here. And I'll go ahead and decompress this spring over here in the corner. All right, so the upper ball joint, 52,000 miles, actually it's got pretty good resistance and feels pretty good. It's not floppy at all, but there is a big old gaping hole in the boot. So that means, dirt has been getting in there, and clearly that needs to be replaced. So that one, the lower one's pretty floppy. This one over here on the end of the tie rod. Yep, it's time. I mean, they got 52,000 on them. I mean, they would do okay. They would do okay-ish. But we're going to make it nice. We're going to replace them all. So I should have loosened this ball joint before I did all that. I just wasn't thinking. All right, I'm going to use this ball joint separator. Well, you didn't see me pop it loose there. I had turned the camera off. But it did work, so there you go. Pretty good tool. Not really designed for this car. It's designed more for European models. I basically coaxed it into working. All right, one spindle. Let's set this over here on the bench. And you can see the state of the bushings back in there. They're ripped up. That's all in pieces. Same over here. They're still pretty tight though. So that's good anyway. I mean, the car didn't feel wayward, you know, on the road. It felt pretty good, but I think after we're done, it'll feel brand new. All right, these fasteners on this control arm are different. On the rear, it's got one bolt, and there's two on the other side. I guess, you know, it's just the way it is. So 7/8 on this nut here and 13/16 on the bolt head. Made quick business out of that. All right, these two bolts over here, they go into threaded bosses, and they're 5/8. Well, it's not really a threaded boss. Apparently, it's a piece of metal with some threads in it. There we go. One lower control arm. C3 Corvette removed. It just, you know, it was like a split second. It hardly took any time at all. So those two bolts were, that's what they were screwed into, that big thick piece of metal. I guess that's about 1/2 inch of 5/8 bar stock with some threads in it. Pretty rudimentary, actually. There we go. There's a big old bolt. I'm not bagging and tagging. Not on the front end. I can figure it out. Okay, look at that. Let me show you something. Piece of wire, you probably can't see it. It's a piece of wire from the welding process. There's several places around the car where the welders just left their welding wire stuck. There's one right there. There's another one that popped off. Pretty silly. All right, the welding on this car sucks. I'm just saying, it just does. I mean, it's held together, but it's just not pretty at all. So, okay, I'll quit complaining. Let's see, does that fall off? I guess not. What are we gonna do now? All right, let's go ahead and get this tie rod off. It's 11/16 on that. I put a piece of blue tape on it to mark the outside, so we get our orientations correct. So since this ball joint is going to be replaced, I don't see a need in really being nice about it. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and take this end of the sway bar off. Let's see, we got nuts up there? No. Threaded boss. There we go. Just let it dangle from the other end. This thing here is going to come off too. This held one end of the steering cylinder. Piece of junk. That's going to go away. You're not even looking at what I'm doing, are you? Sorry about that. I'll probably edit that out, but I removed this end bracket for the former power steering cylinder. And it's got some bolts up in the frame. All right, there we go. Just a little plate with a couple of bolts stuck to it. We might make a plate for that and cover it up, keep the water from splashing up in there maybe. We'll see what happens. So this is the what's left of the power steering. All right, we got to, so this ball joint over here on the, I can't get this stuff loose from the steering box over here. So I'm going to take this link loose over on the passenger side, and I'm going to unthread this shaft out of this control assembly here. So that's the way I'm going to do it. Let's see. Yeah, and there's no cotter pins in here because I called myself going to take this thing apart underneath the car over there in the house garage. Then I decided that was stupid. Eventually, thought better of it. Decided to bring the car over here. Much better decision, I must say. Now we should be able to loosen that and thread that out of there. There we go. Not worried about the thread count because this setup's not going back in the car, and you know, it just doesn't matter. So at least I don't think it is. I can't recall if this is reused or not. Probably not, but anyway. Let's not worry about it right now. This whole affair will just come off. You can't see what I'm doing. Sorry guys. I'm screwing up by the numbers. This whole steering box affair will come out later. I'm not going to take that out today. Well, yeah, I guess it will. I'm over here. I might as well. I know I'm going to take it out. I might as well do it now. I don't know what I'm procrastinating for. I just wanted to move on to the passenger side. I wanted to be done over here. That was my point. All right, let me take a break, and then we're going to start looking at what we need to do to pull this steering gear out of this car. All right, this is 7/16, what do you call it? Was it a 12 point? Yeah. That ain't working. All right, here we go. Yeah, that's loosening up. I've replaced one rag joint in my life. That was on my 66 Impala. Hence the name of the channel. Wish I still had that car, but oh well. Let's see if we can get these two bolts out of this rag joint here. We got that broke loose. Let's get this power ratchet on there. There we go. Get this other one off here. There we go. After I read the book a little bit, I've done everything I need to do to that rag joint. I got the pinch bolt out and I got those two nuts off up there. So all we need to do now is take these three nuts off of the steering gear and, you know, get it out of the car. So got a little breaker bar here. These are 5/8. And they're not even tight. At least that one wasn't anyway. Yeah. That one wasn't either. That one wasn't either. Yeah, that bolt slips back into the frame and just kind of spins around. All right. Now the only thing holding that up there is that those bolts stuck up in the frame. Got a piece of rope on there. You guys can probably hear Rick blowing leaves, I imagine. There we go. How much lateral play do we have up there on that rag joint? I have no idea. Just tap them inside the frame, dummy. That top one's just kind of hanging in there. I'm gonna tap this bottom one in. We got those two out of the way. Now for the third one. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna do this. I don't want to drop it on my head. I don't even know how heavy it is. I got a piece of rope on it though. It'll be all right. We're not gonna reuse it anyway. What are you worried about, dummy? I have no idea how heavy this damn thing is. All right, now we're just holding on with one. There we go. There we go. All right, it's hanging on by a wing and a prayer. That stubborn rag joint bolt. I can get that damn bolt out of there. Let me get a pry bar. Slam! Y'all jump out of your seat. Get your ass out of there and quit giving me a hard time. All right, there we go. Now, thank you, Mr. Rope. Man, rope is good. I like rope. There we go. Come on down now. There's the two of those bolts there. They're basically just carriage bolts with a flat on the side there. That flat fits into a square in the frame. And there's another one, there it is, back behind back behind the cover there. You can't see it. We're just going to leave them right there so we know where they are. I believe I've got everything off the bottom of the car that I want to get off on this side. Upper control arm is next. And it's slipping off. There we go. All right, we got these shims here. And we don't want to screw that up. We got 3 in the front and we got 4 in the back. So you guys remember that for me, okay? I guess that just, yep. Slip right off of that like that. There we go. Easy peasy. I'm glad I looked at this more closely. There's more than 3 here. Quantity of 4. Let me go ahead and get some tape on these and mark them. And we'll bag them up. Forget what I said about not bagging and tagging stuff. So let me get this stack. I'm gonna get this stack done first, then I'll do the other one. See how far we're gonna get on the passenger side here. I got all my driver's side stuff in a pile over here in the corner. I guess I should make a new pile. I think right here is a good place. There's the idler arm. That's going to get replaced too. That feels pretty stiff. I'm not sure how much play you're supposed to have in an idler arm. Probably not a whole lot. How much of this should you have? It's probably okay. That's probably okay. But I'm probably going to replace it anyway. There we go. Man, that nut hot. Breaking it free from all that mess. Not exactly a lightweight unit. I got my rope in there too tight. There we go. There we go. One of these bolts on this side here decided to destroy itself, so we're going to need a new one. We might need a new piece of metal here. I'll have to take a look at the threads on it. All right, there you go, all torn down. Well, except for the idler arm. I'll do that later. Actually, the idler arm feels pretty good. I don't think I need to replace it. So, but you know what? We'll see what happens, I guess. Well, anyway, there's your front end of your C3 Corvette there. Control arms, sway bar, spring. I still need to uncompress that passenger side spring. And brakes, dust shield, rotors, you name it, it's all there. I did eventually start to bag and tag, but I just got 2 bags, one for the driver and one for the passenger. All right, there you have it, folks. Got the front end of the C3 Corvette completely torn down, and that pretty much took all day long. So a lot of editing to do tonight, but you know what? That's all part of it. So I feel pretty good about the progress we made today. Got all the parts laid out over here, and up next I've got to do 2 things. I've got to order parts and I've got to clean parts. And well, 3 things. And then I have to clean all this mold and stuff over here. All this underneath this car is just going to be cleaned up, just like we did on the rear end, right? So everything's got to be cleaned up. So that's what I'm going to start doing probably tomorrow. But that'll be for another video. I don't think you want to see me clean parts though, so I probably won't put much of that in the video at all. So we're going to wrap this video up, folks. I appreciate you guys stopping by the channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to be notified whenever I release a new video, don't forget to click that little bell down below. You guys have a good one, and remember to enjoy restoring your classic C3 Corvette.